right, so let's learn a little bit about the Rudy and everything that goes on. And we're going to start first with the man that kind of created this whole thing in his head, and that is Spook Joyner. Thank you for joining us this morning, Spook.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
Doing wonderful. Can't thank you guys enough for being with us. So tell me a little bit about the Rudy, how long the Rudy's been in business.
We started in 1998. I had a partner back then, a business partner, Tony Davis, and we started in 98, and we're still going strong until this virus thing hit, and we're hoping and praying that we can resume and get back soon. So, yeah, we started in 98, so this year would have made the 21st year.
Wow, 21 years. That's phenomenal. So I take it you're the guy that puts this whole show together, and you hire all the musicians and singers?
I do. I write, direct, produce, and play guitar in the show. And I got to say this, I can't do it without people like these. I've got to have people. I can't do it by myself. And everybody I got now is they're producible people. They listen. They're easy to direct. And it's just a great group of people. But yeah, I do all the hiring and firing and floor sweeping if I need.
Oops.
So tell us a little bit about how your show is different than what we see in Myrtle Beach.
Well, that's a great question. In Myrtle Beach, the productions are a lot larger. They have a lot more dancing and stuff. Our show moves faster, I think, than the shows in Myrtle Beach. It's bam, 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 off and on, and a lot of clothing changes and stuff like that. But it's toned down. It's smaller theater, but it moves faster. And like I said, the people, they react and sing well. They play well. They move. We don't have a ton of choreography, but everybody does what I come up with, and everybody's a part of that process. They'll be doing something, and I say, I like that, don't do that, or I like this, Ray, be quiet, something like that. That's usually the case.
That's about right.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but anyway, I hope I answered your question.
All right. So what else would you like to tell us about the Rudy? I'm curious of where the name came from.
Well, Mr. Rudolph Howell owned the theater, and when we took it over and remodeled it, so to speak, the first phase, let's put it that way, the Rudy was on the theater, on the sign up there, and we just decided, hey, let's call it the Rudy. It's part of Johnston County and has been. So, yeah, Mr. Rudolph Howell actually owned the theater. So that's where the name Rudy came from.
Cool history. Thanks for that.
Yeah, man.
So next up, we've got Jerry Williford, but Jerry's having some technical difficulties, so Spook is going to answer Jerry's questions here this morning.
Ooh, technical difficulties.
And so the first question I have for Jerry is, Spook tells me you've been with him the longest. Is that correct?
Let me answer that. I know that for a fact. Somebody's coming in the studio. I got to get them to be quiet. But anyway, Jerry is the longest one with me. I think he came after we were there about 6 or 8 months, and he's been with me. And must I say, a trooper. He has come from Fayetteville, North Carolina, on the other side of Fayetteville, at every rehearsal and drives back, and has just been super duper guy. He never gives me any trouble at all. He's a great guy.
Yeah. Well, one of the other questions I've got here is, has Jerry ever missed a show?
Funny story. We were, yes, he has missed a show. He's missed one show that I know of. And the way that happened was we were getting ready to do a show. And then my partner who was playing drums, Tony Davis, I said, I better call Jerry. He's usually here on time. And so we call, or Tony calls and says, hey, Jerry. Jerry says, hey, Tony, how you doing? He said, I'm doing fine. He said, what you doing? Jerry said, well, I'm sitting in the recliner watching a ball game. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And Tony said, we get ready to do a show. And he said, what? So I got on the phone. I said, I'll cover you steel parts. I'll play guitar. But that's the only show he's ever missed. And I don't think he's missed many rehearsals in 21 years.
Good. So what instruments does Jerry play?
Jerry plays one of the hardest instruments I think there is to play. It's a steel guitar. It's a detuned instrument, and he has to pull it in tune with a bar, and he's got a phenomenal ear. So he's playing a real difficult instrument.
Well, thanks for being with us, Jerry, even though you're kind of silent over in the corner. And Spook did a great job talking for you there. Next up is Tina Cash. Morning, Tina. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
So Spook tells me you're one of the original cast members.
Right. I believe I was the first person hired, and it's my job to give Spook a lot of trouble. You know, Jerry doesn't give him any trouble, but I'm quite the opposite. But we have a lot of fun. I was there, I think, 7 years in the beginning, and then was gone 14. And now I'm back. I joined last year, and I'm just thrilled to be back. This show is better. It's bigger, better, faster costume changes, and the talent is phenomenal. The show is quick, like Spook says. It moves really fast, very entertaining, and I just love it. I just love it.
Well, good. So I understand also that you do some other work on the side for the lottery.
Yeah, I call it winning lottery number. Woo-hoo! And so I do a number of lotteries a week over at WRAL, where I was a reporter 30 years ago. And so, you know, it's like, are you still here? You know, is what I get around the TV station. And it's like, well, you know, I come and go, but I'm back for a minute to do the lottery. But it's fun. I enjoy doing it. It's late at night sometimes, 11:22 live. So that kind of wears me out going in at night, because we've adopted our granddaughter, and she's 10. And so, you know, having to deal with that and working late is not that much fun, but we make it work.
So can you remember any funny events that kind of took you off script with Rudy?
Oh, yeah. There are quite a few, and one of the most memorable is the time I did a little silly thing, and I had blacked out my teeth to sing a silly song, and I went backstage, and we all had to come out to do the gospel medley. Well, we're changing so fast, and I never looked in the mirror, and I never opened my mouth. And so as I'm coming through the curtain, and I look at Tony Davis on the drums, and his jaw dropped when I smiled, and I thought, oh no, I knew I'd forgotten to take the black off my teeth. So here I am in sequins and a gown and blacked out teeth. So I tried to hide my teeth while I was talking to the comedian, and he said, what is wrong with you? And I said, well, you know, these things happen. And I turned to the audience and just smiled, like sequin gown and no front teeth. And then I had to sing with my back to the audience just to keep from laughing. So it was pretty funny. That was one of the funniest things.
That is funny. Well, thank you, Tina, for being with us today.
Happy to be here.
Next up, Stephanie Ray Wiggins. Stephanie, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. It's real early.
It's really early.
I'm not used to being up by this time.
So Spook tells me that you're a country girl in the group. Where are you from?
I'm from Benson, North Carolina, just right up the road.
Right up the road.
Right up the road.
Benson is country for sure.
Yes, it sure is.
So when did you start singing?
At the Rudy? Or
No, just in your career?
I was singing in church when I was, you know, younger and so forth, but I didn't actually start singing in front of an audience until I was in a pageant at 13 years old. So that was, you know, the first time I ever sung live in front of someone. Other than that, was just in my hairbrush, you know.
You've been singing since birth, right?
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you like best about the Rudy?
All these people. They're like, they're extended family. Love them, everyone. They're good people. And of course, to be able to sing, you know, in front of people and just share our talents and show who we are.
Yep. Well, one of the things that intrigues me about your shows, and I've had the honor to be at a couple of them, is how many clothing changes, especially the ladies, do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think there's probably an average, I'm sure the girls will agree, probably at least 15, 16, 17 times a show. And sometimes we'll come off stage and have all of 15 seconds to get into something else. And that's not just, you know, a dress or so forth. It's shoes, jewelry, maybe even switch up her hair, somehow. So it's fast paced. There's a whole nother show going on behind that curtain or behind the kids than there is out there on it. So.
Well, it's impressive because it's like you're off stage for a few seconds, and then it's like, wait a minute, is that the same person? Yes.
Yep. It's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for being with us, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.
So next up, and I was a little worried about this guy this morning, Jasper, you with us here? Where's Jasper? I got to find him on the screen.
Hey there.
There he is. He's
I'm here.
Very, very quiet. Good morning. Thank you.
I'm here. I listen more than I talk.
So I understand you are the youngest at the Rudy. Can you tell us a little bit about how you started there?
Well, I was the youngest up until John joined. Now he's swiped me out of the water by about 10 years here. And I started in 2016, and I've been there ever since for about 4 years, I think, in March of 2016. So, yep.
So now again, here's a question that's been fed to me. So who does the most during these shows?
As in,
is it the girls? Is it the guy singers? Is it the musicians? Who's doing the most work?
Let me just say, I'm glad I don't wear a dress.
We are too.
I would have a difficult time. I would have a difficult time with that and the heels. But who does the most? I would say probably Spook and the band, because they have to learn all of the music. We just have select songs that we sing lead or background vocals on, and the band has to learn all of it. So they have the most technical job, I believe.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us this morning. Sure appreciate it. Okay. Next. Yep. Sorry.
I said my pleasure. It's funner than doing homeschool with my child.
Yes. It's funner.
That's funny.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Well, thank you. Next up, Shannon. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great.
So,
Thanks.
how did you hear about the Rudy, and what was your process in getting into the show?
Well, I had not been on Facebook very much, and I was on one day for just a couple of minutes, and I saw a post by Tina that said that they were looking for singers, and I thought, I could do that. So I responded to her, and then she hooked me up with Spook, and I went to one of their rehearsals to kind of check it out, and then I auditioned for Spook the next day.
Cool. So is performing live at the Rudy what you expected?
Oh, I think it's going to be more than I'm expecting. In a good way. It's I've done a lot of theater, but this is different. This is definitely similar to theater, but it's different because it's just nonstop. And, if you're in several songs in a row and you've heard all the costume changes that I am somewhat looking forward to, I'm sure that'll be fun. So this is a dream come true for me to be able to be a part of a show like this.
Cool. So this question's a little bit loaded, but how's Spook to work for?
So far,
Can we all answer that? Or
You can tag that all on if you want.
he is, he knows what he wants, and he expects us to do our homework and do what we need to come in so that we can spend, the least amount of time having to put things together. It's a really professional organization, professionally run. And I think he's got something really good here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being with us today, for sure.
Sure, my pleasure.
All right, next up, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am doing great. I hope you are.
I'm doing wonderful. I'm with a wonderful group of people this morning. I'm normally sitting in my office by myself, so this is a treat.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
So, Amy, I hear you are filling in right now as an understudy.
Yes, I'm just filling in. I started gosh, probably about 17, 18 years ago at the Rudy, and have enjoyed being there so much. But now we live in Beaufort County. We live about an hour and a half away. So it's not as easy. So I just go and fill in whenever he needs me.
Good, good. So I also hear that you do studio vocals for the group.
Yes, that's actually one of my favorite things to do, is to go in and do harmonies. And what we do is we'll put the background vocals on, and then Spook takes the time to turn up each part. That's that person's part. He makes a practice CD, and then they get a CD where they hear their part the loudest, and that's how they learn what they're supposed to do.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this because I'm kind of learning behind the scenes of
Yeah.
what we see on this stage. So Spook tells me that you have some gospel roots, and can you tell us how that helps you singing at the Rudy?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I guess I've been singing in front of people all my life, but started singing gospel music with my family when I was about 14 or 15. And we traveled all over the eastern part of the country singing. And it's just, I guess I've just always been on stage singing. So that helps a lot. And we, would fight over our harmony parts. Of course, family's going to fight more, and we don't fight as much as at the Rudy, but I do enjoy picking out harmony parts.
So I'll give you a shot at this. You want to give us some scoop on Spook?
Yes. Yes. No, I have known Spook a long time, and he has come to be one of my very best friends. And I can say this. He is a couple of things. He is a genius when it comes to music. He knows it inside and out. He lives, sleeps, breathes it. I trust him. If he tells me something is right or wrong, I trust him because I have been around him long enough to know that he knows what he's talking about. Now, he's also very honest, painfully honest. So if you have thin skin, this is not the place for you. But I have come to appreciate that. And I don't want you to sugarcoat anything. I want you to tell me the truth. So when he gives me a compliment, I'm like, oh, I must have really done a good job for him to give me a compliment. But I love it that way. But he's fair, and he loves everybody at that theater, and he loves the theater, and he loves the music. And I love that about him.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us, Amy, this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right. Next up, John Green. And I got to say thank you to John. He was our technical expert this morning, helping us get this thing moving. So thank you for joining us, John.
Our expert, but no problem. I'm glad we could try and get all of our stuff done. What's up, man? Glad to be here. Thanks.
Glad to have you here. So the first question I got for you, John, is I understand that you just moved back to Four Oaks here in North Carolina.
I did. Yes, sir. Moved back to Four Oaks, North Carolina. I've been in New York for the past 15 years and have enjoyed every second of it, and am even more happy to be home.
What were you doing in New York?
I spent 12 years of that 15 on Broadway, and I did 5 different shows and had a very wonderful time developing as an artist on Broadway, and had a blast being able to kind of figure out where these next steps lead me here. So I'm glad to see where God's leading and just move forward with all of it.
Cool. So can you give us some of the names of the shows you were on Broadway?
Sure. So I did West Side Story. That was my debut when I was 19. I played Riff with the man who wrote the book, Arthur Lawrence, as the director. And that was an incredible experience. After that, I got to do the original Broadway cast of Matilda.
Mommy, I'm here.
It had opened previously in London, and they brought it to New York. And then I did that. Then after that, I did School of Rock, which is the popular film with Jack Black that happened in the early 2000s. They made it into a musical. Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote that. And then I did Tootsie after School of Rock.
Wow.
Then I was just currently doing Company before Stephen Sondheim's Company with Patti LuPone and Katrina Link, and whole gender swap of the characters when the pandemic hit. And as you know, New York, as well as everything else, is closed down. And it was a time of reassessing and looking at a lot of different things. So here I am.
Well, welcome back to North Carolina. And so what's the difference between Broadway and the Rudy?
What's the difference between Broadway and the Rudy? Broadway is a corporation. Broadway is a beautiful establishment, and it's wonderful, but it serves its purpose and purposely serves. So whereas you have a $20 million budget and 50 different producers that are all taking money each week, and then you have a specific quota you have to reach just to pay your actors and your producers and to reach your nut. It's looked at more, I think, as a business opportunity rather than it is looked at as art. I think that art is being censored right now. And I think that is a really slippery slope for artists and art in general. So for me to come to a place and to have somebody who's as passionate as they are about the arts and about their place in that, I think for me, I can't really speak. I'm very new, but what I've realized is the difference between a corporation and the difference between heart, and I think that the Rudy has a lot of heart, and I think as though it produces corporate productions and does beautiful, intricate work and puts a lot of money into their productions, it's different in the aspect of I don't think the Rudy is doing it rooted in money. I think the Rudy is doing it rooted in heart, and they want to bring quality thing to people and to change the hearts of people and to actually reach them where they're at. So for me, it's different because it's corporate and not. Does that answer your question?
That absolutely answers the question.
As I could and articulate. I mean, yeah.
Well, good. Well, we're really happy to have you here, and thanks for joining us this morning, and welcome back to North Carolina.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So the next folks up here is Fuzzy, and I've been a little worried about him because he's been driving around in his pickup truck while we.
Multi-taskable.
How you doing, Fuzz?
I'm doing just great.
So you've been coming to the Rudy Theater how long and watching the shows?
Oh my goodness, probably at least 15 years. And watching the shows, and it's the kind of thing that every time that you go, you're going, you look forward to it. It's sitting out in the audience and just enjoying everything that everybody was performing and everything.
So how does it feel to finally be on stage performing?
Oh, like a dream come true. How about that? I've seen a lot of these Amy, Stephanie in the past that's performing, and they bring joy to everybody that's there. And when I left the Rudy, I felt a little bit different, like you had seen something special. And now I get to be a part of helping other people feel the way I felt. And so to me, being able to do that is like a blessing from the Lord in heaven and a dream come true.
So the next question I got for you is, being the comedian the hard job there?
I'm a comedian? I thought I was the understudy. No, it's not. I think everybody's got a little bit of that in them, and I don't know. I just go out there to have fun, and everybody that's there has welcomed me, and I'd like to say thank you so much for opening your hearts and your arms and welcome me as part of the family. And I have had nothing but a blast. I have relayed that to Spook numerous times how much fun I'm having.
Cool. That's cool. So where do you get your material?
Well, life in general, you can, everyday life can be a comedy if you pay attention to it. But I don't know. I mean, I just all over the place. I listen to things, kind of put things together and go from there. And then I run it by the best comedian that we got down there is Spook.
Let's talk about me.
Well, Spook gives me the okay to go. I haven't yet to hear him say, "Don't do that." So apparently, I must be doing something halfway right.
Cool. Well, thanks for being with us, and I'm glad you're parked for the moment, so we weren't putting you in any danger here during.
I'm a multitasker. I can do a lot of things at one time. And I look forward to seeing everybody down at the Rudy. Please come and support the cast. Everybody's put in a lot of hard work. You're going to enjoy it. It's family fun from 0 to 99. Anybody and everybody is welcome to come down and be a part of the special show we have down at the Rudy Theatre.
Thank you, Fuzzy. Appreciate you being with us this morning. Finally, last up, Fred Burgess. Good morning, Fred. You've been sitting there so quiet and patient.
That's what I do best.
So I understand you're the bass player, and you also have some gospel roots.
Yep, that both is correct. I am the bass player. I've been playing since I was roughly 13, 14 years old, and joined the Rudy cast and crew about 5 years ago.
So can you tell us a little bit about how that audition went?
The audition was kind of funny. One of our former piano players called me and asked if I was interested in joining the Rudy. I said, well, sure I am. And so I got a call from Spook, and he said, hey, why don't you come on into the studio Saturday, and we're recording the songs for the show. And, I didn't have any idea what was going on, but I learned the songs. I went in there and I practiced. I made sure I had those songs down. And we went in, we recorded one song, and Spook kind of shook his head. Yeah, that's pretty good. Went to the next song, recorded that, pretty good. So about 2 hours into it, I looked at him, I said, well, have I got the job or not? And as far as I'm concerned, you had the job 2 hours ago.
So you guys put on 4 different shows a year. Can you tell us a little bit about each of the shows?
Absolutely. We have just started in the last couple of years doing an Easter show, and it's a lot of Southern gospel music, a little bit of contemporary gospel music. It's all Easter related, the resurrection, all that. Then we move on to our summer show. Our summer show is popping. We've got a little bit of beach music. Sometimes we do a little bit of Motown in there. It's just uplifting. It's fun in the sun. Just a great show. Then we move to our classic country show. We pull songs from Marty Robbins, way back. A lot of artists that we pull from. Merle Haggard. We go back and get some of the like Tanya Tucker and stuff like that from back in the 80s, maybe some from the 70s. We do our classic country show, which is phenomenal. Then we move to our big show, which is my favorite show, the Christmas show. We've got Christmas music. A lot of it is probably songs that you know and that you've heard of, but you've never heard it quite like this. So everybody does a great job. The Christmas show, we do roughly 45, 46 shows during the Christmas season, November and December. It's tiring, but when we get to the last show, we're all kind of we're tired, but we're all kind of sad too. We want to just keep going, but that's our lineup for the year, and great show. Every one of them is great shows.
All right. Well, Fred, it seems to me that it takes a really special person to work at the Rudy. And would you say that it's all about that team effort and really making a commitment to Spook in the show to get it done?
We have to make a commitment to ourselves to start with, which, we go in and record the show. And before we record the show, we've got to learn that song. We'll go to the studio. We make some changes in the arrangement that's made. We'll maybe shorten the song, a lot of different things. Then we have to practice the show, learn the way we recorded it. Then we get up there on stage and practice and perform the show. It's all about the heart. We spend a lot of time in it, but there's really nothing any of us would rather do than what we do there at the Rudy Theatre.
All right. Well, it shows today, guys, and I can't thank you enough for you all being here and kind of sharing the behind the scenes look at the Rudy. Spook, what else you want to tell us about where we're headed here in the future?
Well, we hope, first of all, that everybody stays safe from this virus thing. And it's been a struggle, as you well know, to keep everything going. And as long as I got a breath in me, I'm going to keep moving in the direction of reopening as soon as the governor allows us to. And with people like here that I've got that support me, these people are rehearsing betting on the come. You know, we may not get a chance to do a show, and they're still down there rehearsing. So as long as I got people behind me like this, I can't lose.
There you go. So also, Spook, I know you've told me that you're taking special precautions so that when the doors do open, you're ready and to bring folks in and keep them safe. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yes, I can. Thank you for asking that question. You know, everybody, it's got into a lot of people's heads and they're scared. And there's a lot of people that are concerned that aren't scared. And I've talked to both sides of it. And it seems like the older generation that I've talked to, 200 or 300, 400 people maybe in the last 6 or 8 months, and they're saying, as soon as that door opens, I'm coming. And I'm thinking, well, are you scared of this virus? I'm not scared. I'm ready to go to the root. I'm concerned about it, but so in saying that, we took precautions of, I bought a machine that actually sprays a mist of solution that gets all over the seats and everywhere. We spray it all in, it fogs the whole theater. And that solution actually kills the virus if it comes in. And any kind of bacteria that's there. So we will do that before a show. We will do that after a show. We won't shake hands like we used to for the patron safety, which we'll miss because we always enjoyed going down and signing autographs. But we want to do everything that we can do to make that place safe for everybody so we can go have a good time. We sing our songs and y'all clap and stomp your feet and just have a good time.
Well, good. Well, we sure look forward to the day the Rudy's reopened here, hopefully very soon. I want to thank all of you for taking time today to be with us and kind of shine the spotlight on this gem here in the Triangle East region. And again, I'll be one of the first ones in the door when you get those doors open, Spook. So thank you guys for being with us, and we'll make sure we tell this story to as many people as we can and fill that theater the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today, guys, and have a great
Thank you.